Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out in Riyadh with the one and only Dave Coldwell. Boxing takes you around the world and we get to do interviews in different places. It's not like quite Telford, is it? But it's definitely Riyadh, one of its own unique places. Dave, how are you doing?
It's definitely unique out here. The whole setup and everything's on a different scale. And this has just been press conferences and weigh-ins that we're here for today. Yeah, it's crazy.
We're at weigh-in day. I wonder, look, a lot have made about Anthony Joshua's weight, if he's bigger, bulkier, and also if he's a bit lighter, he might be a little bit quicker, looking to box a bit more. What weight do you expect to see Anthony Joshua weigh in at?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I wouldn't expect him to be too heavy because I think he'll want to be able to deliver his punches nice and sharp. He's got better feet than Ngannou, so he'd want to be sharp on those feet. So I don't expect him to be necessarily light, but I wouldn't want him to be up there with the heaviest he's been. So. But we always talk about Anthony Joshua's weight. How does he look? And everybody talks about that. So, it's about how he performs.
A lot of talk about power. And I know that both fighters have power in both hands. But I just wanted to talk about the moments in between, specifically the clinches. It would feel like Ngannou clearly would have the advantage. But I know that in the head of the Usyk fight, Joshua brought in specifically a wrestling coach to try to help him deal with how proficient Usyk was. Do you feel that someone might have learned enough to deal with now an MMA style of clinching heading into this fight with Ngannou? Because those moments where he seems to be the bigger man bearing down on him might be a key factor in the fight.
You can always improve. But does that catch up on a man that's vastly experienced in that field and that's like without having to think what he does, he just does on the inside? Those split seconds can gain you the advantage on the inside. It's no good getting on the inside and thinking, right, I need to do this. And then somebody's already done their move straight away and took dominance on the clinches, being able to position yourself so you can implement the weight advantage, little arm positions that makes you feel uncomfortable, opens you up. If you've got to think through those stages and somebody in front of you is natural at that, then in those moments you're always one step behind.
I want to talk about perspectives as well too. If Anthony Joshua chooses to box in this fight as opposed to go forward and look for the knockout, do you feel that people will still be talking about AJ's boxing scared in front of someone who's got dynamite?
Of course, listen, if AJ goes out to box, people criticize him, saying negative, where's that fire, where's that aggressive AJ? If he goes in there and looks to bomb and gets knocked out, people say we're stupid. What he's got to do is he's got to. You can still. People say that you're either going in there for the KO or you're boxing, but you can box your way into a KO victory. So I think he's got to box his way into a KO victory. Be it that in 1 round, 5 rounds, or 10 rounds. What you do before the actual knockout delivery is box and boxing and IQ and get yourself in that position, a feint, a setup, and that's what I feel as though. He's got to be smart in his approach work, but still deliver the power punching.
I haven't heard vuvuzelas since 2012, I think it was, in that World Cup. We'll try our best to continue if we can or not, and hopefully it will subside. But keeping on perspectives, Dave, I saw a Twitter post. I'd reference it where it came from if I could remember what it was, but it said that of every common opponent between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua had stopped or knocked out every single common opponent. If Joshua, keeping on perspectives, knocks out Francis Ngannou, does it add fuel to the fire that Tyson Fury is on the decline?
Of course it does, but I think it's common knowledge that Anthony Joshua punches harder than Tyson Fury anyway. So, just because if you're a boxer, you'll predominantly box your way to your victories. If you're a knockout merchant, you're predominantly knocking people out for your victories. It doesn't mean that the knockout merchant's going to beat the boxer or the boxer's going to beat the knockout merchant on the basis of what's gone on before. How do they face off against each other and who can get their assets to work and pay off? That's what it's about. But it's nice to talk about, it's nice to compare, it's all part of the build-ups and the talk. Otherwise, it'd be boring.
Moving forward, as the vuvuzelas finally stopped, got a bit of music, but it's okay. Music's added to the environment. Bit of news yesterday. Spencer Brown confirmed. We thought that it would be that if Usyk dropped out of the fight, Joshua would take his place against Fury, and if Fury dropped out of the fight, Usyk would take his place against Hrgovic would take his place for that fight. That's not the case. It's Hrgovic is stepping in the place for either fighter should they fall out. So I think we've talked about Usyk and Hrgovic before, but we haven't talked about Fury and Hrgovic. Do you feel that Fury and Hrgovic got a style that could maybe cause problems for Fury at all?
No, I don't. I think he's quite made for Fury, to be honest. Good fighter, can punch, but I think there's so much complexity about Fury.
It was a scary-ish moment, I think, when there was a back and forth between Ngannou and Fury. And Ngannou's always been a little bit cordial and calm, but he was like, look, if I lose my mind, it's over for you. And I thought, like, look, Tyson likes to poke the bear a little bit, but if that was to happen, it'd be a very much step-back moment. When it comes to actually who is the baddest man on the planet, surely it is Ngannou, out of all the heavyweights. If it was a fight without boxing rules, no one could contest with him.
That's a difficult thing to say because, listen, if that was on the street with what Ngannou can do, I'm backing Ngannou all day long, right? But if we don't know whether Ngannou can take a shot yet in the world of boxing. The punch delivery from MMA fighters to boxers is a little bit different, you know, and let's see when he's taken some shots on the chin, because you could just turn around and say, well, if a boxer gets to him first and lands that shot and he can't take the shot, then who's the baddest man on the planet? All that, it is what it is. It's all hypothetical.
Well, we're going to be discussing a hypothetical. It's been announced now that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. I know who the A side in that one is, no offense, Jake Paul. We don't know if it's an exhibition, we don't know if it's a fight, but this has come out of the blue. I just wondered what you thought about it, because I
think Jake Paul plays the game fantastically. He's done amazing, and to seek out and get Mike Tyson is massive for himself, his profile, what he's trying to do for himself, unbelievable. But I'm hoping that a really old, ancient Mike Tyson has still got enough in the locker to sleep him. That's what I'm hoping for, if that fight happens.
Why?
Because I'm a Mike Tyson fan, and I don't like seeing him being wheeled out for stuff like this. But if he is going to do it, I hope he chins him.
If it's an exhibition, would you have less of a issue with it?
I'm not into these exhibitions anyway, but if it's an exhibition, it's been an exhibition. Fair enough, I get what I'm doing. But if it's an exhibition, then Jake Paul, don't be telling us about you're gonna be fighting world titles and you're gonna be that's my thing. If you're gonna just go down the celebrity fighting and YouTube fighting and boxing, basketballs and stuff like that, fine, cool. I get what you're doing. You're making shitloads of money. Profile, you're bringing ice to that part of the sport. But then don't start calling out real fighters and say that you're gonna win world titles and stuff when that's all you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Two different things. Love what you're doing for what you're doing, your side of things, but don't try telling us that you're going to be a world champion and fighting fellas that are older than me.
Lastly, I want to end on a little bit of a concerning note, but I wanted to talk to you about it. That being Ryan Garcia. Now, when I first initially saw some of the stuff early, I thought, you know what, he's probably trolling, probably trying to make Devin Haney kind of take his eye off the ball, but with what the content's been discussed, I think we're far past that point. Maybe someone needs to draw Ryan Garcia and have a word with him and look after him.
Why aren't his family getting him looked after? And listen, in America, everybody gets carted off into rehab, carted off into institutes to help him mentally and things like that. Why is nobody, because he's close to his family, so why is nobody grabbing hold of him and saying, come on, Tom, you need to be looked after? Because you can't just flick around and say, okay, I'm not talking about anything about other than boxing now. Don't work like that. If this is you and this is where your head is, you shouldn't be thinking about boxing anybody. Never mind pound for pound one of the best fighters out there. He needs looking after, and he needs. And if he's trying to call, if it were all the rules and everything, and it's a sick sort of method of getting Haney to, like you say, take his eyes off the ball or even pull out the fight. You know what I mean? It still needs withdrawing from the fight for that. I'm just, you can't help but worry about the kid. Do you know what I mean? I like Ryan Garcia. I like what he's done, how he's got his following and stuff. He is a real fighter. Back in the day, I used to think it was just an instrument. I didn't realise his amateur record and who he fought and what he'd done. He's a real fighter, you know? It's just that he understands the game, he understands social media in this world, which is fantastic. And I've got a lot of time for him, I respect him, and I like the kid. It just feels as though he's lost right now. And it's a bit of a warning to everybody that wants to be super famous quick and have everybody know every move you're making. And if you can't handle that mentally, it's a dangerous game to play, because once you're in it, you can't step out of it. You know what I mean? The best thing you could do is delete all his social media if you struggle with that side of things, because he's in a position where all eyes are on him all the time, and maybe it's a tank loss. I don't know what it is. Maybe something's triggered him, and you know, it's kind of like falling apart, and it's sad to see.
Wait to see, and hopefully someone will step in and give Ryan Garcia the assistance that it seemingly like he needs. Dave, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for speaking Seconds Out. Looking forward to the weigh-in. Much appreciated, sir.